Gambling involves risks, including the potential loss of money. Always gamble responsibly and consider seeking help if you feel you may have a gambling problem.
Alright, so apparently I can't stream the sound from the game. I got shut down. So I guess we're gonna do. Let's try this. Alright, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna stream. I'm gonna watch the game while I play cards and just talk and drink. That's 24:14. I mean, do we really want to watch that though? I mean, I might as well, I guess. All the people are leaving our table. Wonder why. Just gonna be 1v1. All right. It's been a while since I've done 1v1, but let's go. 10-3. I'm gonna raise, fold. I feel like I'm gonna get bored of this very quickly. Is he gonna win the last hand? He's gonna win the last hand, because I'm gonna sit out after this and just give it up. I don't feel like playing anymore like that. Heads up. Thought maybe he would quit and then I would be able to win it, but I don't feel like playing like that. What do we have here? Let's do a sit and go. It's only $1, but it's ready, so let's play it. Ah, stupid thing. Okay, I'm gonna restart. And there we go. We should be now good to play. Boom. Alright, now let me pull the game up. Grab a cookie. Hear that? That's me opening a cookie. A very delicious cookie. Can you hear me chewing? This is a 100 mg cookie. Nom 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 nom. Two-minute break there.
At 42-yard line, 4th and 5. To put the nail in the coffin, they're just going to try to get him to jump off sides. Run the play clock down to 1.
Did they use the timeout?
Oh, no. Hopefully. 31-13. I wish my thing would work, because it's just not working right now. My cable stream of it. Oh, here it goes. Nope. Connection not made. Oh, here we go. Is this it?
Man, if you're a player,
Yeah, I did it. All right, cool.
Boy, do we have a
Cool.
banger come.
Cool. All right, I'll shut it off. And then I'll keep it here. There we go. All right, cool. Cool. No music for right now. Nothing. Oh no, what just happened? Fold that hand. What just happened? Everything died. Oh, I'm not even on. I'm not even streaming anything. Oh my god, I'm a mess. Alright. I haven't done anything yet. I just was looking for a tournament, so that was just up there. I've not even played one hand. I had one hand, Queen 8. I was looking for the game. 31-14. Boise State has the ball. 3rd and 3. Shotgun. I hit him for the first down. Looked like the tight end, number 88. Yeah. That's a big boy. That is a big boy. Shotgun again. Hurry up offense. Run. That's surprising. How many timeouts they got? No timeouts left, and you ran the ball? Seems kind of... I mean, the game's pretty much over anyway, so... Oh, King, Queen of Diamonds. Let's go for a 3 times raise. I'm going to see if I can find us some royalty-free music here, so I don't get kicked off again. Spotify. There's a commercial right now, by the way, so not really much to chat on about it. Let's say Spotify web for everyone. Ugh, stupid freaking thing. Spotify. I hate that it does that. Just pops up like that. Alright, King 5. Let's see how this works, because I could be dinged for it, but we're going to test it out. It's supposed to be royalty-free music. So we'll see what YouTube has to say. Ace 4 Queen, I don't really like that. Nope. Bye-bye. This is apparently supposed to be all royalty free, so I'm just gonna play it for now. We'll see how it works out. Oh, he drops back. He's holding the ball forever. Finally gets rid of it on the sideline. To the 50, to the 40. Oh, man, you got to go out of bounds right there. I mean, I know you ain't really going to get back in the game, but you at least got to give yourself a chance. Is he ragging on that dude for being a donkey? What happened? Nah, pocket clean. I don't think he's talking to me. I guess after this, I'm gonna put on the New Year's show. This is pretty much over, so I'm gonna start looking at it. Alright. Not too much longer left in this game right here. It's going to be done. I think I'll just watch some stuff from around New Year's and like that. Turn off the music, maybe put some other shows on for a little bit. Look at this. Texas, Arizona State, I think Texas, Oregon State, or Oregon, Ohio State. I think that might be an upset of Ohio State. Penn State, Boise State, that's going to be over. Notre Dame, Georgia. I mean, I just can't bet against Georgia. I think if Oregon beats Ohio State, the winner of that game, I think, is going to be the winner of the national championship. Calling it right now. Dun, 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 dun. So it'll either be Ohio State or Oregon.
Kids screaming in the cradles, profanities. I see the world through ice covered in ink and bleach. Cross out the ones who heard my cries and watched me weep. I love everything. Fire spreading all around my room. My world's so bright, it's hard to breathe, but that's alright. Hush. Take my eyes open to force reality. Why can't you just let me eat my weight in glee? I live inside my own world of make-believe. Kids screaming in their cradles, profanities. Some days I feel skinnier than all the other days. Sometimes I can't tell if my body belongs to me. I love everything. Fire spreading all around my room. My world's so bright, it's hard to breathe, but that's alright. Hush.
I feel like there's absolutely no way that song is copyright free. I just realized Cradles. Is the song Cradles royalty free? It's a copyrighted song and you would need to obtain the proper licenses. Oh my god. Stupid playlist on Spotify. It's copyright free music. You're lying. You lied to me. Can't trust nobody. Oh shit, I got set out too. Oh, Ace King. Okay, well I didn't have the heart. I would have got. I mean, I would have won there, but yeah, that with 3-4 hearts, I probably would have. I don't know. He went all in. That was dumb. I missed an opportunity. That's what that was. Yeah. All right, I'm looking for something else. Let's just go with my other idea. I'm going to put the New Year's. Let's go. Let's watch the New Year's. You guys can't see it, but I can. You guys can listen to it.
This program contains flashing images.
I'll just listen to it. There we go. Like that's good. New Year's Day, London. Fireworks, 2024. Wow. I won't even call that. Four, three, two, one. Happy New Year in London. Where? Yeah. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, it's pretty cool looking. I mean, I know you guys can't see it right now, but it's pretty damn cool looking. Yeah, it's really cool. Really, really, really cool. Enjoy it. Probably get shut down again for this music too. Jesus. Can't do anything. Can't do anything. Really cool colors. Red, white, and blue right there. Yeah, I feel like for sure that it's again. Yet again, they're just playing music. I feel like if I continue to play that, I'm gonna get shut down yet again. So I'm not gonna play it. No. Yeah, I'll fold this. Let's see. What's another one? Inside Bill Ackman's millionaire making strategies. My 5 best weightlifting tips of the year. ASML CEO on China AI chips. Triton Million Poker Tournament. Why is my electric bill increasing? That's what I need to know. That's some nitty gritty stuff right there. Stocks to buy in January. I really like this. This is really cool. I'm going to listen to this. I don't know.
You understand the semiconductor industry, which is interconnected and constantly evolving
We're
in
gonna
the
learn about the
enormous
semiconductor.
semiconductor ecosystem. Today, let's learn about the essential semiconductor manufacturing processes. In the first episode, we talked about silicon, the main material which is used to make semiconductors. In order for silicon to turn into a
Very
semiconductor
important,
chip,
silicon.
it needs to go through the essential processes of wafer manufacturing, oxidation, photolithography, etching, deposition and ion implementation, metal wiring, EDS, and packaging.
7-3 with
Let's
a
take a
third
closer
3
look at
right
these
there, so
processes.
no one is going to expect me to have a 7-3.
Semiconductors are
No one.
stacked high and solid to form a complex structure.
So I feel like bot.
For the semiconductor.
But-
Most wafers are made
Easy
of
one.
silicon extracted from sand. How can these tiny grains of sand become a wafer? First,
wafer, you
sand is
say?
heated until it
Can I
melts
eat it?
into a high purity liquid and then gets
I love
solidified by
wafers. Vanilla
crystallization.
wafers, chocolate
The
wafers,
resultant
strawberry
silicon rod
wafers.
is called an ingot. These
Oh.
ingots are sliced into a disc, thinly sliced wafers. The surface of sliced wafers is rough and contains defects, so polishing machines are used to polish the surface of the wafer. The reason is that defects on the surface could negatively affect the precision of circuits. If you look at a photo of wafers, you can see a grid pattern on the surface. Yes, the word wafer comes from biscuit wafers. A wafer made this way is the main
Oh, I knew it.
material for semiconductors. Because
that?
the
Give me a
larger the
chocolate one.
diameter is, the
I deserve
greater
it.
the number of chips that can be produced per wafer is. So, the diameter of wafers is becoming larger. Because the resultant thin disc-shaped wafer is not conductive yet, a process to make wafers semi-conductive is required. First, wafers go through the oxidation process. Oxygen or water vapor is sprayed on the wafer surface to form a uniform oxide film. This oxide film protects the wafer surface during the following processes and also blocks current leakage between circuits. The film acts as a strong protective shield. Now, the foundation is ready. The building up process begins. Just as you
Honestly,
draw
I'm
blueprints to
interested
build a
in this
building,
stuff, but this
you
shit
draw
is
a
so
circuit
boring.
design onto a wafer, which is called the
Like, this
photolithography
video
process.
is
It is called
informatic.
photo for
It's
short
very-
because it is
so much
similar to
information in
developing
it,
a
but
photo
this shit
taken
is
on a film camera.
boring.
With semiconductors, a photomask functions
yeah?
as the film.
Oh, nice.
A photomask is a glass substrate with a
Cool. I
computer-designed
actually
circuit
don't
pattern.
care. No, I do.
In
care.
order to
I've
draw the
watched it
circuit
already.
on the
I'm gonna
wafer,
watch something
the
else. Oh, this is cool. Someone compiled the best parts of all of the Lord of the Rings movies, and they're watching it right now. Live compilation of all of the Lord of the Rings.
This is no place for a hobbit!
This is no place for a hobbit! What a badass. Kill them all. Sorry. I'm watching a movie. And they're fighting about it. It's a nice movie. It looks good. I mean, it's called Lord of the Rings if you haven't seen it.
Guard of the citadel indeed. Now back, up the hill, quickly. Quick! will you do it, you useless scum?
No one give! It's too strong!
Get back there and smash it down!
But nothing can reach it!
Run will reach it. Bring up the wolf's head.
Alright, I'm gonna met that on pause. I'm gonna put that on pause.
It's technology of the smallest kind.
It's
And I'm gonna watch
everywhere.
this. I think this is gonna be
It's
good.
in the finest grains of society.
From autos to manufacturing to data centers to communications, everything depends on semiconductors.
I have stock in quite a few of the companies
Semiconductors
they're
are
about to
more
talk about
important
here.
than oil.
I haven't seen this one yet, though.
Microprocessors are a highly
It's called
strategic
Chip War
industry.
Microchips, Global
Across from
Chaos, the
China,
Hidden
the
Tech
island
Struggle.
of Taiwan is the world's largest producer of electronic chips, a situation that is creating geopolitical tensions.
台湾是中国，台湾更是
Bum,
被
bum,
外
bum,
族
bum,
侵
bum,
占。
bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum.
If we imagine China
Dum,
taking
dum.
over Taiwan's semiconductor industry, the worldwide economic shutdown,
Yeah, that would be terrible.
Taiwan with semiconductor is probably the best defense, has a silicon shield.
Since the 1980s, the United States and Europe have been offshipping the production of electronic chips.
The globalization trend was driven by differentials in labor costs. It was simply cheaper to hire workers.
Aware of their dependence, Americans and Europeans are facing a race against time to produce their own chips.
They're building the biggest plant they've ever built in the world.
Yeah, Intel, TSM, who else? AMD. I mean, there's probably another couple, maybe another handful that are building chip factories in like Arizona and places. I think that's probably what they're about to talk about right now.
Here in Arizona, 18 months ago, it was desert.
Oh, look at that.
The country that produces microprocessors will thus control the global industry.
The world's geopolitics has been defined by where the oil reserves are for the last 5 decades. And I think where the chips come from is more important for the next 5 decades.
From Taiwan to the far reaches of America, microprocessors are now coveted by the major world powers. Manufacturing a microprocessor requires cutting-edge technology. And it all starts with one of the most abundant elements in the Earth's crust. Extracted as quartz, the silicon is first melted in an oven at 1400 degrees and then cooled in silos. The material is then cut to form thin silicon wafers.
Like the candies we just learned, the
Circuits
cookies.
that form the microprocessors are etched onto these wafers. They are found in
Microprocessors
all
are etched
electronic
onto the
devices.
wafers. Craziness.
In the 1980s, Europe preferred to transfer production of this technology to Asia. Taiwan decided to make it a strategic industry.
I think this is tough because no, I don't invest in it. My M zone is almost less than 5, but I would rather push somewhere else where I have a better chance. So
It's very strong. in right now in technology. It's very strong in terms of the talent supply, right? The workforce quality. And it has the strongest, I would say, semiconductor supply chain cluster with global partners.
In terms of the infrastructure, cost structure, Taiwan become a promised land for this kind of stuff.
The island, just off the coast of China, is the main stronghold in this strategic industry.
Yeah, I have TSM.
Taiwan accounts for
TSMC.
30% of the world's supply of microprocessors. The small country is a vital pillar of the global economy. It owes this transformation to one man, Morris Chang. Born in China in 1931, this engineer is venerated as a national hero in Taiwan.
那么今天的授勋仪式，我要代表国家对张创办人对台湾的重要的贡献，表达最高的敬意跟谢意。
In 2018, Morris Chang was awarded the country's highest civilian honor by the President of the Republic. Morris Chang studied at the best American universities before becoming the founder of TSMC, the first global manufacturer of microprocessors. He is revered throughout Silicon Valley.
Morris, the world is full of successful people, frankly, but we've never seen impact like what you've made. And on behalf of all of us, you're my hero.
Thank you.
Morris Chang, I think, rightly can claim to have really reshaped the chip industry starting in the late 1980s when he founded TSMC. He was actually present at the creation of the semiconductor industry when he worked at Texas Instruments in the late 1950s. And so he's been with the chip industry from the invention.
Actually, the very idea, the new business model, the pure play foundry business model, now everybody thinks that it was a pretty clever idea. But at the time, nobody needed that platform.
He, with the support of the Taiwanese government, which was a founding investor in Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Corporation, began pouring money into expanding production capacity in Taiwan, designing none of their chips in-house, but providing outsourced manufacturing for chip firms in Europe, the United States, across the world.
Pretty quickly in the early 90s, and I think that TSMC existence certainly helped to accelerate the formation of a lot of fabless companies. There were maybe 25 fabless companies in the whole world. And then 10 years later, there were 400, 500 fabless companies.
In less than 40 years, TSMC has built an empire of mega factories across Taiwan. In the suburbs of Taipei, the TSMC factories are impenetrable. Corporate communication is strict. Interviews with employees are forbidden, as are images from inside. TSMC has become the center of global attention. The company has the power to paralyze the world.
It's real crazy, to be honest with you, that one company could theoretically have that much power, but TSMC and ASML, I think, have a bottleneck hold on what they control right now. I mean, it's going to eventually, other companies are going to catch up, but right now they have a massive competitive advantage. So, on those other companies, and they'll probably hold that for a long time, right? So, unless they stop innovating, but that's what these two companies are known for doing, is innovating. So, and I have 900 left, so I am down to less than 5. I'm down to 3.5. I'm doing terrible.
TSMC produces 90% of the most advanced processor chips. From Apple, whether it's an iPhone, or NVIDIA, which powers many data centers, TSMC produces many of their chips. And without TSMC's production, the entire digital economy would simply ground to a halt.
Of all of the companies you know in the world, this is the only
Oh,
company
I'm
that
getting
currently
dominated.
has
I
something
gotta
they
catch a
make in our
10.
possession
That's
right
it.
now.
Oh,
There are no others.
wow.
So there's basically Air
I struck a 10
and
on the
TSMC.
final. That's the NVIDIA. I'm gonna go back. That's the NVIDIA president
Simply
right now.
ground to a halt.
Of all of the companies you know in the world, this is the only
guy
company that
talking.
currently has something they make in our possession right now.
Jean-Hussein Wang.
There are no others.
Jean-Sun Wang.
So there's
the
basically
CEO
Air
of NVIDIA.
and TSMC.
I'm gonna go see him speak, I think, in Vegas, so that'd be real cool. That'd be real, real cool.
TSMC's stock market value constitutes over half of Taiwan's national wealth. These days, 30% of the world's electronic chips are manufactured on the island. China, the USA, and Europe are lagging far behind and have to import the bulk of their microprocessors. And in March 2020, the world economy's dependence on this technology was exacerbated by the COVID crisis.
COVID was this massive accelerant. Now everybody's communicating online. Zoom became a common word, not for a telescopic lens, but
Honestly, I've never even thought about that before with how they're talking about the pandemic and everyone buying computers and how many chips and everything were being created at that time, and then everything went back to normal and companies just aren't creating chips like they were before. I got a pair of Kings. I'm just above 5 right now, so I go all in again. All right, well, I'm 15th and I was 19th, so I'm moving up.
but for how we communicate. The semiconductor industry was sort of rolling along at 5 or 6% kind of growth rate. And all of a sudden, when COVID happened, that bounced up to demand of 20 to 25%, but it also disrupted supply chains. So the supply went negative.
La crise sanitaire a été un exemple de choc, de double choc.
This is funny. So I'll give you a little insight to my work of what this guy's saying. He's pretty much saying there was so far he said, well, you heard part of it, there's like a public health crisis, and it's hurt the supply chain twice as much as normal. I'll go back a little bit.
5 or 6% kind of growth rate. And all of a sudden, when COVID happened, that bounced up to demand of 20 to 25%, but it also disrupted supply chains. So the supply went negative.
La crise sanitaire a été un exemple de choc, de double choc sur les chaînes
That's what I just told you. That's what he just repeated.
empêchant les
It's preventing
producteurs de produire et encourageant finalement les
manufacturers
clients
from
à
encouraging
consommer
customers
davantage.
to consume more.
The global pandemic created an imbalance between microprocessor supply and demand.
Yeah, see, that's exactly what he said in French.
We pushed out of our fabs 1.15 trillion chips, well exceeding any record in the past. So we've been running at way above full capacity for a couple years. The problem we're facing right now is that demand has just exploded, and fabs have 4 walls, and you can only produce so many chips within those 4 walls.
The Western world then became aware of its vulnerability.
And a chip shortage. All of a sudden car manufacturing lines were stopped. Economies were, unable to move forward. Everybody in the world realized how important chips are. We became really important overnight.
In 2021 and 2022, a major company like Apple lost over $10 billion due to a shortage of microprocessors. A decline in production also meant delivery delays for all games consoles. Car manufacturers began to panic.
Today, the Big Three announced all plants will be shut down over concerns of the coronavirus.
All the plants through March 30th. In 2020, when it started COVID-19, the automotive industry, the business is go on the downside. They just stop all the chip. Force company like a TSMC give the production capacity to some other industry. So forget about automotive.
所以到2020年的下半年的时候，他发现他的需求突然上来以后，他想要增加订单，但是所有的产线不仅持平而已，还一直增加，所以就变成这样的互相抢产线的情形了，变得非常的严重。
All the suddenly.
Moving up little by little here to the into the money, it looks like 11th out of 18. Still a little ways to go, but of course again raise. Got about 7. I'm in the M zone of 7, so I'm low, but I'm okay.
People in mid-Michigan are temporarily out of work tonight.
And I win another pot,
because
so
of a little chip.
moving up to almost 9 now.
In the car parks of American automakers, tens of thousands of vehicles are waiting for their microprocessors. In 2021, many of these vehicles were not even produced yet, costing the global automotive industry around 200 billion euros. In 2022, the crisis had still not been resolved. Near Le Havre, the Renault factory in Sandouville has become silent once more.
Notre site est arrêté pendant 10 jours, tout simplement pour cette fameuse crise des microprocesseurs. Régulièrement, malheureusement, la direction est amenée à fermer le site pour manque d'approvisionnement de ces microprocesseurs et on se retrouve dans le tiers d'aujourd'hui avec une usine, dans notre jargon, on appelle ça une usine meurtre, c'est-à-dire personne à l'intérieur.
And so they shut a
Vous voyez des
factory
voitures
down
qui sont accrochées sur la ligne
because
de montage.
the
Le problème,
supply
c'est qu'il y a plus de salariés à côté.
supply chain just
Point
stopped,
B.
dried up, so
Reste plus que
people
de la
weren't
tôle.
ordering the cars and stuff as much.
Sur 2021, on parle d'un peu plus de 60 jours d'arrêt. Plus de 60 jours d'arrêt.
60 days of
Donc oui, effectivement, là, c'est
of
plus inquiétant,
nothing.
c'est alarmant. Imaginons-nous que Taïwan ou les pays asiatiques qui produisent ces microprocesseurs, un jour, il y a une crise géopolitique, tout simplement. Et ils nous livrent plus.
Because if something happens in
Vous comprenez?
China or
On
Taiwan,
parle de centaines de
the
milliers d'emplois
chips
dans les mois, les années à
stop
venir. Si on inverse pour la
shipping, so-
tendance, qui seront sacrifiés en France.
Yeah, but that's what they're talking about is why they're
Ah, c'est
moving
fermé
their
aujourd'hui. L'usine, elle est fermée.
they're building a factory in Arizona, right? So
There's a lot of analogy to what we saw in 1973, you know.
I own ASML, which this is the
In
CEO
1973,
that's speaking
oil
right
wasn't
now of
good.
ASML.
Nobody worried about oil. It was always there until it wasn't. Now we fast forward, 2020. Semiconductors, chips, have always been there until they weren't. And all these questions suddenly pop up. Where are they, you know? Where did they come from? Who is producing it? This is exactly why chips and semiconductors are now strategic.
The globalization trend was driven by differentials in labor costs. It was simply cheaper to hire workers in places in East Asia. It was driven by typical trends in terms of shipping costs going down, in terms of new IT technologies making it easier to have a firm that operated in Europe and the US, and that's where the vulnerability comes in.
On ne pensait pas un seul instant que ces chaînes d'approvisionnement internationales puissent être remises en question. On n'avait probablement pas
I never
l'imagination
thought
d'une
that
telle pandémie ou d'une telle
the
guerre.
crisis would
Et donc
put
la
them in a
logique de
position
main-d'œuvre à
of
bas coût n'a plus aucun
peril.
sens aujourd'hui. On est plus dans une logique de technologie à bas coût. Et ça, c'est fondamental pour comprendre ce mouvement inverse qu'on a pu observer.
For decades, companies have massively delocalized production without a second thought.
He's going to explain. That's a lot to explain.
Microprocessors have been no exception. And today, Western leaders are acutely aware of their dependence.
Yeah, that's what he was saying.
Pandemic has
How dependent
painfully
every country
exposed
is on
the vulnerability
specific
of chips supply chains.
companies, and they didn't think there would ever be a problem ever with the supply chain.
Of just-in-time supply chains.
I think for a couple of decades now, political leaders, meanwhile, have just not thought much about the industry. They've thought semiconductors were something that plugged into their computer or smartphone, and their thinking stopped basically right there.
Nous avons, sur le sujet des composants en particulier électroniques, un énorme défi.
The global semiconductor shortage has caused a shortfall in consumer goods, especially automobiles, and it's contributing to higher prices around the world.
And so it's only in the past couple of years, due to the pandemic, due to the geopolitical competition, that leaders have started thinking about, is this a risk?
To limit the effects of the shortage and reduce
So I bought the full supply chain, full circle, from material and everything, from the making of a semiconductor chip to the consumer goods that it's in, right? So I have the full circle of what I think. And then I also have some ETFs and stuff, but as always, I'm not a financial advisor, right? These are just my strategies and what I do. I'm not telling you to buy anything. Do your own research and figure out your own shit.
Reduce their technological dependence, America, China, and Europe are taking action. In 2022, each announced
Nines
its
versus A3.
microprocessor plan for developing
he
their own
struck an
production.
ace. My luck has run out. That was the right call. That was the right call. 15th out of 45. Darn. Guess I gotta play another one. Oh, I guess there's nothing running. Is there a cash game? Yeah, restart your client. Hate that.
Capacity.
The College of Commissioners has adopted today the European Chips Act.
要实现我们第二个百年目标，我们就是要走自主创新的道路。
The chip war has been declared.
There are a couple of different wars going on simultaneously. There's wars between companies struggling for market share, but there's also competition between nations for who gets which part of the supply chain.
On the 2nd of August 2022, Taiwanese television channels broadcasted the arrival of an official airplane live on air. Nancy Pelosi was on board, the then Speaker of the United States House of Representatives and third in line to the presidency. It's the first time in 25 years that such an important American political leader has set foot on Taiwanese soil.
Today, our delegation came to Taiwan to make unequivocally clear we will not abandon our commitment to Taiwan, and we are proud of our enduring friendship.
Although Nancy Pelosi broadcasts her visit across social media, she doesn't mention anything about a very important meeting about microprocessors. Here she is with Morris Chang, founder of TSMC, and Mark Liu, the current CEO of the company.
If you look at Taiwan's production of semiconductor, you can easily tell that Taiwan has occupied a very important place in the world. And it might come into play in the near future that China might have the temptation to think about Taiwan semiconductor as something that they want to take over. China wants to expand its influence and power beyond the first island chain. Taiwan happens to get stuck in the way, and they want to take Taiwan over. The absolute majority of the people here say no to unification. Using force becomes the only option for the Chinese government to unify Taiwan.
Nancy Pelosi is in Taiwan tonight, and China is already responding. Pelosi's late-night landing was quickly followed by news of Chinese military drills all around the island.
Using missiles and fighter jets, China organized an unprecedented military blockade of Taiwan for several days. President Xi Jinping sent a strong message to Taipei and Washington.
我要告诉大家的是，这是一场彻头彻尾的闹剧。美方打了所谓
And we're back with some poker.
在干着
I'm still getting this figured out.
主权的勾当，台湾必将回归祖国的历史大事。
Pelosi 去台湾，我觉得 Pelosi politician 都说不上，他年龄太大了 ，too old。
Since 1949, Taiwan has been one of the obsessions of the Central Powers. In October 2022, during the 20th Congress of the Chinese Communist Party, President Xi Jinping reaffirmed his commitment to annex the rebel island.
解决台湾问题是中国人自己的事，要由中国人来决定，但绝不承诺放弃使用武力，保留采取一切必要措施的选项。
China's ambition for Taiwan is not just politically fueled. The island is at the heart of the technology war between the USA and China.
La Chine a annoncé clairement son objectif de devancer les États-Unis sur le plan technologique. Il est évident que le conflit s'est cristallisé sur les semi-conducteurs qui sont au cœur justement de la troisième révolution industrielle et de la domination technologique du monde. S'il y avait une attaque chinoise justement militaire sur Taïwan, ça créerait une déflagration vraiment majeure.
那无疑，中国肯定在半导体产业上，它是个新兴的半导体大国。那么时间太短，就造成 这个很多的工艺技术的积累，我们的能力就不是在这个行业里面要去追最先进那一点，我们把中低的，我们靠量，中低端的吃了就完了，这么一个这个问题。
If we imagine the world with China taking over Taiwan's semiconductor industry, and they use this as a weapon against the rest of the democracies, I'm sure the rest of the democracies which relied on semiconductor industry in Taiwan, I'm sure they will react in a very strong way. Taiwan with semiconductor is probably the best defense.
Les Taïwanais se servent de TSMC comme d'un bouclier et d'un moyen de se protéger au plus haut niveau, y compris sur le plan politique, mais également sur le plan militaire. Il faut que Taïwan reste intact dans sa capacité à produire des semi-conducteurs face à la Chine
that they need a shield around TSMC so that they can continue to produce chips even if China invades them, right? So, i.e. building the factory in Arizona.
It's not for our interest, for their own interest, for Apple, for all these companies that require continue our business. And Chinese, they maybe like it happen, but the US say, no, sorry, we're not allow this happen.
An armed conflict in the Taiwan Strait could jeopardize the majority of the world's electronics production. Faced with China, Taiwan can count on a powerful military ally.
Are you willing to get involved militarily to defend Taiwan if it comes to that?
Yes.
You are?
That's the commitment we made. The idea that it can be taken by force is just not appropriate. It will dislocate the entire region and be another action similar to what happened in Ukraine.
Si Taïwan n'avait pas la capacité industrielle dans ce domaine.
I'm not political and I don't like to get political, but that didn't make any sense because of what happened in Ukraine, yet we're not helping Ukraine very much. So if China invaded Taiwan, we're not going to help Taiwan very much. Maybe I'm crazy, but that's kind of what I understood.
domaine, je pense que l'intérêt de défense de Taïwan serait bien moindre aux yeux des Américains. Il va de soi que les intérêts économiques, et en particulier dans le domaine des semi-conducteurs, est crucial, central dans les relations américano-taïwanaises.
Taiwan-American relations are crucial in the semiconductor market, and the U.S. will do a lot to keep that. That's what he just said.
I'm State Senator David Livingston in Arizona. Before I got elected, I was one of the top financial advisors in the country. Arizona is famous for our copper. We have cattle, we have citrus, and now we have the chips.
In the Arizona desert, new businesses are opening up so they can benefit from America's help. The Taiwanese company TSMC is building its first mega factory in the United States.
This is the Taiwanese semiconductor plant. Phase 1 is a $12 billion investment. And if it goes well,
$12 billion investment for stage 1. Wild.
I think the long-term plans for the next 20 years is to build 3 of these plants up here in this location.
That's 30. That's $36 billion. That's a lot of money.
So right there, you're looking at 4 stories from nothing. 18 months ago, it was desert. That's how fast it's going.
Yeah, 18 months ago, there was absolutely nothing there. And now that's there. It took them almost like 3 years to build my house. Not even close to the same size. And we paid double what they originally asked. Stupid COVID. I don't know if we paid double, but COVID made us pay a lot more. Anyway, let's play.
Economic impact projection in the next 20 years is $38 billion. Because of the plant, because of the other companies that would come here to support it, because of the new apartments, the new houses, that would be the new restaurants. I actually feel personally it's going to be bigger than that. It warms my heart because Taiwanese semiconductors and their people picked us, and we competed against the whole world on where this plant was going to be. This will be their biggest plant they have, and it's here in my hometown, in my district. It makes me very proud, very happy.
This semiconductor factory will soon produce 5-nanometer chips.
I remember when they built the Honda factory in close to where I used to live, and it was a massive boost to the small area that it went to, like this small, very small town, and it actually brought in a lot of jobs and a lot of money. But from people that I know that were there and have worked there, they said they didn't really enjoy working at the factory. It wasn't like a fun thing to do, but I mean, they made pretty good money, and they just built cars, and some of them were in management and stuff like that, but I mean, they made pretty good money, and it gave a lot of jobs to that community, so.
The latest generation of microprocessors that are currently only being made in Asia. Needless to say, the choice of location was no coincidence. It was in Phoenix, Arizona's capital, that the agreement between the USA and Taiwan was announced in 2020 thanks to active lobbying by the governor of the state.
Taiwan Semi is without a doubt this decade's biggest win in Arizona. We showed up to the discussions, we answered the questions, and we pitched what was best about our state.
I'm going to be honest. When I watch this kind of stuff, that's why one of the first companies I invested in was TSMC, TSM ticker, but is because of this kind of stuff, right? Like, these people are actively going out and trying to get them to come and build factories in the United States so that chips can remain in-house. And I mean, Intel, AMD, they're talking not just about building there, but some building in Canada too, which really piques my interest, because I would like to own, one here in Canada and one in the United States, or vice versa. Or if one company builds in both, I would pick that one single, right? So we'll see. I don't know.
We've got the lowest flat tax in the nation. We've eliminated over 1,000 regulations that make it a great place to live.
Oh, I just realized it's literally 1 minute until. Oh, let's watch it. Nine, 8, we got 7, 6, 5, 4, live from New York. 1, Happy New Year 2026 from Canada. Ah. Everyone in my house is asleep upstairs, so I don't want to yell, but normally I go out, like one year we went downtown and we watched an IndyCar drop. Done a lot of cool stuff. I was at the Dallas Cowboys Stadium one year for New Year's for a big party. Another draped in Planet Fitness stuff. I hate Planet Fitness. Never been to one, just from what I've seen on TV. I hate it. I'm going to turn that off now because I'm going to get dinged. But hey, Happy New Year. I caught it just in time, literally 10 seconds before the ball dropped. And I got to watch it and count it down, so that's pretty cool. I always do something every year. I feel like it's a tradition for me since I was a little kid. I just remember with my dad, my mom and dad being at their friend's house watching Michael Jackson. Yeah, we'd watch it all night until the countdown. Yeah. Car broke down one year. Lots of stories for New Year's, but let's continue with the cool chip manufacturers.
Live, work, play.
The governor
and
of
obviously
Arizona.
Scale a business.
Doug Ducey is a longtime friend of Taiwan. That's why, a month after Nancy Pelosi's controversial visit, the governor is heading to the island.
Hello, I'm Doug Ducey, governor of Arizona. It's my great honor to meet with President Tsai.
The Chinese Communist Party doesn't dictate to any American where they can and cannot go. If someone wants to go visit our partners in Taiwan, they should feel free in doing so. Taiwan Semiconductor is the best in the world. I think what we'll be able to have in Arizona will actually be a deterrence to any aggression from China's perspective that they would have on the island of Taiwan.
In another victory for the governor, in December 2022, the boss of
because it's New Year's
TSMC
the next day,
welcomed
automatically
Joe Biden
get
to
another
his factory in Arizona to
Power
announce
Path
a
ticket.
$30 billion additional investment.
Thank you to everyone at TSMC, especially Morris Chang, who founded this company in 1987 and grew it into a global giant. And today, TSMC has announced a second major investment. They'll construct a second fab here in Phoenix to build chips, 3 nano chips.
A few weeks later, in the gardens of the White House, it is a historic day for the American economy. Following her return from Taiwan, Nancy Pelosi stands as master of ceremonies.
Today, Mr. President, with the stroke of your pen, America declares our economic independence, we strengthen our national security, and we enhance our family's financial future.
We are the United States of America, a singular place of possibilities. I'm not going to go sign the Chips and Science Act, and once again, I promise you, we're leading the world again for the next decades. Thank you.
By signing the CHIPS and Science Act, Joe Biden gives priority to the protection of American interests.
Ready? Got it.
Reducing costs, creating jobs, and countering China are becoming key features of Washington's trade policy. $80 billion have been allocated to industry and research, of which $52 billion was just for microprocessors. It is the United States' largest public investment since the Second World War. In the audience, a rather discreet man has been working behind the scenes to reach this outcome. Running a business empire, his company invented the first electronic chip back in 1971.
I think I said 2026, but I meant 2025. I'm an idiot.
A brand new.
Intel is now the second largest producer of microprocessors in the world.
I came into the role as CEO, we basically laid out this very simple view. The world needs more geographically balanced, resilient supply chains. And the world now realizes that. That's the essence of the U.S. CHIPS Act, to get more geographically balanced, resilient supply chains. I can't put oil reserves in my country, but I can help build fabs in my country. We have to build out.
We are coming to you live from Licking County, Ohio. This is the site where Intel is breaking ground for its newest chip manufacturing facility.
Intel is going to build a workforce of the future right here in Ohio. A brand new $20 billion campus. 7,000 construction jobs.
Please join me in welcoming Intel CEO, Pat Gensler.
Oh, we made it. This great state of Ohio has this tradition of manufacturing. You all like to build stuff. And that's exactly what we're going to do together. We are going to build the most advanced stuff in the world right here in Ohio.
Unfortunately, we produce zero of these advanced chips in America. Zero. And China's trying to move way ahead of us. The United States has to lead the world in producing these advanced chips. And this law makes sure that we will.
Intel boss Pat Gelsinger is one of the several entrepreneurs close to the president. In the United States, industrial policy in key economic sectors has a bearing on the interests of the state.
Les États-Unis font une politique industrielle sans nationaliser des entreprises, comme on a pu le faire en France à un certain moment donné, mais ils interviennent par l'intermédiaire des commandes massives du département d'État. Quand on regarde de plus près dans l'histoire...
He's talking about the United States and buying massive quantities of chips for the government specifically. Maybe to resell, maybe for military, who knows.
Industriel des États-Unis, on se rend compte, comme dans bon nombre de pays, que le complexe militaro-industriel a joué un rôle majeur dans l'émergence des innovations.
Yeah, he just said right there the industrial military complex of the United States and the role and emergency of innovative technologies, I think.
Technologique.
Okay, ready? One,
Let's finish the sentence for him almost. He started the word though, just to be fair.
In Ohio, Intel's $20 billion industrial complex will
Intel.
only take 2 years to get up and running.
Oh, really? Only 2 years?
This is thanks to the chip
better
Act.
buy
That is,
fast if you're
thanks
going
to the money
But
of the
always do
American
your own
taxpayer.
research.
Semiconductors is an expensive, competitive market. I can't make those level of investments without the incentives. So we're looking for offsets of 30 to 40% of a $20 billion investment. And that's exactly how the CHIPS Act is designed. And as I say to the political leaders, you know, we're not looking for handouts, but if I'm going to make this level of capital investment, it has to be competitive in the world market.
Les États-Unis se sont rendus compte que les Chinois arrivant à la frontière technologique auraient une capacité de dépasser militairement les États-Unis avec des semi-conducteurs qui...
He's saying that China is trying to surpass the United States military by using these chips and technology to gain an advantage over the United States military. Yeah, I don't think it's gonna happen. Just let's be honest. Let's be honest.
Ils peuvent intégrer les toutes dernières technologies et qui auraient pu menacer la suprématie militaire américaine.
To combat this, the American reindustrialization strategy is accompanied by punitive and radical measures. American companies are no longer permitted to work with telecoms giant Huawei and SMIC, China's leading producer of microprocessors. In Beijing, this measure is perceived as an aggression.
其中部分条款限制有关企业在华正常经贸和投资活动，具有明显的歧视性，严重违背了市场规律 和国际经贸规则，将对全球半导体供应链造成扭曲。
所谓芯片和科学法案，中方对此表示坚决反对。
I don't speak Chinese. So,
like the United States,
good luck.
China is investing billions in the microprocessor sector to no avail.
I assume they were talking about China and microprocessors of some sort, but honestly, that is just a guess.
520亿美金政府投入不算大，大概我们整个前面的整个集成电路的投入水平，其实中国在 chips 上现在干的是苦
Oh, I can turn the subtitles on.
进口4000多亿。
Hold on. The Chinese, even though they worked hard, are still obliged to import over $400 billion worth of chips per year.
4000亿的芯片。
The Chinese government has poured a lot of money into chip making, but it's done so in a very ineffective way. China spends more money importing semiconductors than it does importing oil.
Cela fait maintenant près de 40 ans que la Chine investit massivement en perdant de l'argent, des sommes d'argent monumentales sur les semi-conducteurs. Et d'une certaine manière, elle a rattrapé, mais elle n'est toujours pas à la frontière technologique. Et les Chinois voudraient bien évidemment être en capacité de dépasser Taïwan.
I don't like
non
my
seulement
position
parce qu'il y a
here.
une rivalité entre...
Oh wow, now I love it. I hated it at first. But now I love it, so I'm gonna call no ace. As long as he doesn't have 3 6s. I mean a full house, right? As long as he doesn't have a full house, I should win this. You think he'll donk bet into me again? Yeah. So I'm gonna raise him. Yeah. He probably had an ace there. I doinked the queen, but so be it. I think I had... I don't know. I think I had... I don't know. I potentially could have even had the best hand there already, so... I don't know. It was a coin flip for me, but I went with it. Sometimes you go with your gut feeling. And even if you don't have the best hand, you win the hand. But that time I had the best hand, I think.
In response to American sanctions, Chinese semiconductor production has hit an all-time high in recent months. 300 billion chips have been created in the country's factories.
好的，其实呢，我觉得这个美国的很多决策是一些非常简化的，或者说是非常有时候在我看来是比较缺乏目标的，或者比较愚蠢的。那我叫姚海平，是这个酷星微电子公司的创始人、董事长 CEO。2011年成立了酷星微电子。
They're trying to explain from the Chinese side, but honestly, right now, I don't know if I would buy anything from that side. I'm focused on the Americas right now, South America, North America. Focus on companies closer to here. I do have companies that are around the world, like Slumberjay and CGI and others like that, but just trying to focus more on main companies from around here.
就到现在为止呢，过去的25年以上，我一直都在创业做半导体芯片设计器。
Again, that's my personal investment strategy. Do your own research, figure your own shit out.
其中在芯片设计里面，在芯片部分有60多人。大家看到，包括这个他们在做一些仿真，如果看到这个电路的部分啊，在做一些验证的部分，当然主要是在做硬件的代码编写、硬件的验证以及软件的开发、软件的验证。
你不都预留了吗？来个图示中，然后你看它那个，对啊，它那个片输出都是定死的。
然后呢，但是它并没有禁止我们大部分像我们这样设计公司去使用 台湾、韩国或者美国的制造能力，除了像华为这样的个别被禁止，大部分并没有被禁止。那美国的法案呢，更注重于说压制中国的能力， 这两个上面角度是不太一样的，慢这个速度，减慢中国的发展。但是，它要让这个发展最终扼杀掉或者终止，其实是不可能的。
Nowadays, China manufactures barely 15% of the electronic chips it consumes.
He's actually
But it
explaining
displays
most of
the
what was just
unbridled
talked about,
ambition
so
to close its technological gap and become self-sufficient by 2025.
我国科技发展的方向就是创新、创新再创新。只有创新才能够自强，坚定地走好这条道路，再接再厉，更上层楼。
In China, the world of microprocessors lacks technology, brains, and production capacity. This is the Chinese industry's greatest weakness, which is significantly dependent on foreign microchips.
So everything is their greatest
China
weakness? That's what
for
I just understood.
2 years.
I don't know.
I was hired
They have
by
hard workers, I guess.
Vice Chairman.
In 2020, the former executive of Taiwanese company
I mean, that's pretty crazy to say that they're missing that much stuff. I mean, that seems like almost everything to me. I mean, manufacturing, I guess.
TSMC was recruited by the leading Chinese manufacturer of microprocessors. Professor Chiang now lives in the United States in Silicon Valley.
Before I went to China, I heard they are going to put in several hundred billions into semiconductor industry. I think there must be a master plan. After I went there, I found there's no master plan. You think China is a kind of concentrated government? Politically it is, but economically it's not, because local government have their own funding. They can do whatever they can. People just want to have power.
If you look at the aggregate funds that China devotes to chip making, it's billions.
I wanted to say so much, but China's just a giant bubble.
Billions and billions of dollars, but much of that comes from different provincial or local
No comment,
officials, and they all want a facility in their province or their city, so it ends up being
I
very
honestly
inefficient
have so much
in
I
terms
want
of
to say
how
right
this
now,
is
but
spent. As a result, although China's firms are subsidized more than anyone, they've really struggled in the past decade to actually improve their manufacturing capacity relative to other countries. There is a tech war underway. Who will have the technology that leads? Right now, the US has it, but our lead has been slipping, and China certainly wants to have its own indigenous technology that doesn't rely on US or Taiwanese or Korean.
when was this made? Oh, came out 9 days ago. Was slipping. Maybe you can say is slipping at this moment. But once the factories and everything are built for TSCM and TSMC and Intel and AMD and these other companies that are doing this, there's no question that we're going to stay ahead.
马太效应，也就是强者恒强，强像台积电、三星、Intel， 他们已经是强者了，强者
Samsung
很强。那么这个时候，希望去很快的追赶上他们的速度，这是非常难的，非常非常难的。
Does China have the means to achieve its ambitions?
even with what he just said they're going to catch up to Intel and these other companies that make these chips. He's talking about catching up where they're already moving on. So China, again, just making what we did, but making it cheaper and more accessible, I guess.
Will it be able
I
to
say
catch
we,
up
but
in
I
less
mean
than 2 years?
Other parts of the world is kind of what I say by we. So, not just we as in the United States or whatever.
In this global race for the production of microprocessors, Europe seems overwhelmed, despite speeches by leaders in Brussels.
On a délocalisé une très grande partie de ces usines, pas uniquement pour les semi-conducteurs, pour un nombre très très important de produits manufacturés. On était dans cette espèce de course que certains critiquent, du reste peut-être à juste titre, hein, je ne suis pas loin de le penser moi-même. Maintenant évidemment la crise nous a permis d'accélérer les choses, d'avoir cette prise de conscience. Il est temps de
they just keep going over the same thing about how the crisis affected the chip market and supply chains.
Capacité de produire 20% de la production mondiale sur la planète. Il faut absolument qu'on augmente massivement la capacité de production des semi-conducteurs en Europe.
They're going to order 20%. Europe
regain its
is going to
sovereignty,
order 20%.
Europe needs
so the
more
European
factories,
Union needs more.
like this one in the suburbs of Dublin.
Yeah. So Europe is competing with the United States for these factories. Okay, I see what we're doing here.
The most modern factory in Europe is being built in these very suburbs of the Irish capital.
Isn't it magnificent?
This is actually new to me because I didn't know that we were actually competing with Europe and with the UK for factories and stuff.
€17 billion project.
So I have nothing against
2 years
them,
to build
but
it, a year
I
to
mean,
put
of course,
equipment
if we
in
can
and qualify
if we
it,
can
and
win
a
these
year to
contracts,
deliver.
let's get them.
It's a multi-year project.
By the end of 2023, this plant will produce the latest generation of microprocessors. But appearances are deceptive. Fab 34 is not a European factory. It is owned by the American manufacturer Intel and its boss, Pat Gelsinger.
Today,
it's close.
we are
I'm gonna go for
our
it.
European investment program. We envision investing up to 80 billion euros in the EU over the next
535.
decade.
I don't really
European
like that,
Commission
but if I take my
President Ursula
time,
von
maybe
der
I can
Leyen
get him
recently
to.
said,
Maybe I can get him to check behind and let me peel one off. No. Nah, man, I'm not even gonna go for it because I don't even know if I spike a queen or a 10. What if he has ace 10, ace queen, backdoor flush draw? But I mean, the likelihood of that, I mean, it's like nothing. So whatever, let it go. Let's get back to the show.
There is no digital without chips, and she is absolutely right.
Ladies and gentlemen, a month ago, the Commission presented the European Chips Act. With this,
The European Commission president appears in Intel's promotional video to publicize its microprocessor plan.
we also want to strengthen our resilience. In total, more than 43 billion euros of public investment, both European Union and national level investment, will support the CHIPS Act until 2030.
Incapable of addressing this technological sovereignty problem, Europe has therefore agreed to help American companies. In the trade war between the US and China, Europe seems to be the biggest loser.
On avait encore quelques producteurs dans les années 80 ou 90 qui ont tous disparu et qui ont été soit rachetés par les Américains, voire même par des entreprises asiatiques. Les pays européens ont échoué. Ce que cherchent effectivement à éviter peut-être les Européens, c'est à sécuriser leurs approvisionnements aujourd'hui si nous avions encore un bouleversement géopolitique dans cette industrie.
However, Brussels can rely on 3 European manufacturers of microprocessors. Europe actually boasts a major champion in the industry. ASML is a Dutch firm unknown to the general public. This company produces photolithography machines using ultraviolet radiation capable of engraving even the smallest objects. Without ASML, we would not have any microprocessors.
Oh,
for
ASML, yep, I own part of them. Pocket 8s, I'm gonna, since one other person called here, why just all in like a dinky donkey? Must have lost a big hand before. Of course, yes, I'm gonna fold it. Bantikikabalakaka. What does he have? What do we think? Ace Jack. Ace Jack. He probably, I have no idea. Oh, okay. Pocket Jacks. Wow. That was not what I expected. And what's he gonna do? He's gonna go for it. He's gonna take his money out. He lost. I would have lost as well. Hello, Chemo. Welcome to the stream. Would you like to join me?
or our mobile phones.
What we are doing, we make a big slide projector. We are providing a machine that actually takes the design of a computer chip and it translates that design onto a carrier. A carrier is the microchip that when you open your phone, you see all these little chips sitting there, you know, that's what we do. It's expensive, but it's like a slide projector.
Each of its overhead projectors costs 125 million euros. Only TSMC, Intel, and Samsung are able to afford them.
This is a very profitable industry. TSMC, they have announced that they want to spend $140 billion over the next 3 years. Samsung, similar amount of money. Intel, more than $100 billion. So there's already $400 billion by only 3 manufacturers allocated to build out that capacity. Why would you then, from a risk management point of view, put everything in Asia? You want to distribute this across the globe. It's logical. This is why Intel, it's an American company, comes to Europe. This is why TSMC, Taiwanese company, goes to the United States.
The semiconductor industry is an expensive industry to compete in. Building a new facility can cost $20 billion for one plant. So any effort to change the geography of where factories are located is going to cost a lot of money. Now the question is it worth it?
I believe we have been too dependent on Asia, and I would like to see us reshore our manufacturing.
而且全球化的浪潮，所谓脱钩是不可能的，这是上帝指挥的。
Should countries fund a thriving industry that is riding on the strong wave of demand for microprocessors?
Governments need to incentivize, subsidize those big companies to just start such a big project as a kind of a co-partnership.
Governments and manufacturers working hand in hand. In Asia, Europe, and the United States, the chip war has only just begun.
I mean, this is like 100% honestly why I bought not just what I think is going to be the most successful supply chain, but also why I bought ETFs that cover a lot of these companies. So I'll hold multiples of these companies in certain portfolios, but that's not a big deal to me because if I think they're good, then that's great, right? So, but I'll encompass a lot of this, so interesting to know.
Microprocessors have become the main raw material of our digital life.
There is no innovation without semiconductors. There is no green without semiconductors. And there is no national security without semiconductors. It's that important to the future. Let's treat it with that priority.
Vous avez des entreprises qui ont développé des savoir-faire uniques au monde et qui tirent leur épingle du jeu de cette nouvelle donne à l'intérieur qui a été causée par la géopolitique. Et donc ce sont ces entreprises qui sont en capacité effectivement d'imposer leurs décisions à l'échelle de la planète et au gouvernement.
This war that is both commercial and political is revealing the limits of globalization. The microprocessor crisis will no doubt further the feud between Chinese and American giants. Will Washington maintain control of its strategy, or will it have to contend with a China committed to resorting to violence in order to close the technology gap?
All right, well, that's the end of that. How many hands? 51 hands. I'm going to sit out next big blind, and then I'm going to be done for tonight. Call it a night. Ooh, and I got king queen. I'm actually going to go sit in the hot tub for a little bit. The Savan podcast. Oh, it's still live?
I can watch it like 5 times.
That's good.
God, Froning's so special, isn't he?
The way that song.
Buy AMD stock and don't stop buying it. I've got AMD in my portfolio. I want to see this at some point. Let's watch
Understanding quantum computing, applications, basics, and key
I'm
concepts.
very interested in
Quantum computing
quantum
may sound
computing.
like science fiction, but it's a
It's
real
not,
technology
I
that's
assure
on
you.
the verge of changing how we solve complex problems. Imagine a computer that can do things regular computers can't, like analyzing millions of possible solutions at once. This article will break down the basics of quantum computing, how it works, and the key concepts that make it such an exciting field. By the end, you'll have a solid understanding of quantum computing and its potential. What are quantum computing applications? Quantum computing can
Before we talk about that, let's go over the hand. I believe I have the best hand, and I do because I won.
be used in a variety of industries, from medicine to finance and climate science. In simple terms, quantum computers are super fast at solving problems by looking at many possible answers all at once, instead of one by one like traditional computers. For example, in medicine, quantum computing could help design new drugs by predicting how molecules will interact, speeding up the discovery process. In finance, quantum computing could optimize investment strategies in ways that traditional computers can't even imagine. And in climate science, quantum computers might find new ways to capture carbon or improve renewable energy technologies. So, what makes these applications possible? It's all about the speed and power of quantum computers, which can process vast amounts of data at once, making them a game changer in industries that require heavy computation. How do quantum computers work? At their core, quantum computers operate very differently from traditional ones. Classical computers use bits to represent data, which
All right,
can be
this is
either
my last
0 or
hand.
1.
I'm going to pause this. I'm just going to say, please, Happy New Year, everyone. Always remember that gambling involves risk, right? So you could lose your money. Please Don't lose more than you can responsibly lose, right? And if you need help, go find it. There are a lot of people out there. There's a lot of sites. There's a lot of things you can do. Investing, do your own research. Research your companies. Don't just invest because I say it's a good company or because I invest in it. Do your own research. Know your own shit, right? So, all right. Happy New Year. I said 2026 earlier, but it's 2025. I think I'm off tomorrow.